Risk Channels, discussions surrounding the insurance marketplace and what we need to do to stay ahead, to continue to make our families better, our personal lives better, grow our businesses, and fulfill our American dream. Let's get into it.
Hey folks, and welcome back to the Risk Channels podcast. I'm your host, Mark Zettel, and I seem to do this a lot, but I'm going to apologize for the delay in getting to you. I mean, like I said the last time I was on here, just running hard, trying to grow this agency. I mean, we've had a lot of success, and I'm very proud of what we're doing here, but that's no excuse for not getting to you guys timely. Look, this week I just want to be very quick and clear. We're going to be changing the model or the trend of this podcast, and we're going to be gearing it specifically towards the insurance agents and brokers versus the general insurance public. Specifically, customers and carriers are going to be, I don't want to say eliminated, but removed somewhat. Reason being is we're going to be launching another podcast shortly that's going to be industry geared or specific to industries. And that's in the production stage, and given that that's going to be more geared to specific industries, this podcast is going to focus to agents and brokers, or more focused towards agents and brokers. So what I want to do today is I want to specifically talk about a topic that in my readings and listening to other podcast channels really irks me a little bit, and that is what we do or what we're doing in order to get new business. And what I mean by that is I've been listening to some other channels and I read diligently on this, and it seems like what we're doing is we're trying to, as independent agents and brokers, almost mimic a model, and that model being those of Lemonade or Geico, and specifically ease of doing business for our customers. And while that all sounds great and gravy in many ways, and you know, we can all sit back and say technological advancements make it easy, and Geico is a prime example of, you know, you can go right online in 15 minutes or whatever it is and quote, book and bind your insurance. And that sounds great, but where's the personalized touch? We have to be more focused instead of trying to mimic the models that are out there by our competitors and really see what our focus is. And our focus is, first and foremost, we have to go get new business. We can't sit back and be complacent and think it's going to fall in our lap because we have a pretty little website and, you know, we're doing some social media and some video or vlogging and blogging, and for that matter, even podcasting. You have to have that aggressive nature and go get that business because, you know, without that new business, you really don't have anything. And quite frankly, mimicking a model is just basically caving and saying we've already lost if that's what our plan is. That means what they're doing is right and what we're doing is not so right for what we believe the customer should have. Finding a steady balance. I mean, we are insurance professionals, right? I wouldn't go and Google how to install a furnace and then try to attempt to do that myself. I mean, unless, of course, I was a licensed plumber or I guess a licensed plumber or electrician or HVAC contractor. But nonetheless, it's no different with insurance. Customers are going to Geico and they're going to Lemonade, and what they're doing is when they input that data, they're sitting there and they're clicking on little links, help links, reading on the definition of what this is and what the definition of that coverage is. And well, that's pretty helpful. Are we not setting them up, or are they not being set up for failure? I mean, they're generalists, they're the consumer, they're the end buyer, and yet they're making a decision on coverage that could essentially impact them, life-altering impacts, if they're not covered appropriately because they feel or not being explained or seeing the true exposure. But yet, because they were there and they read it and it was available to them, they could be held responsible that, hey, I didn't buy this coverage because, you know, I didn't realize, but, well, it was there for you to read about. I mean, we can't follow that model. We're insurance professionals. So not only do we have to go out and get that business, but we need to utilize or leverage our position as being a professional. We're out there. We know what we're doing. We're your advocate. We're here for you. And too often, like I said, I'm reading and hearing that we need to leverage technology. And while I agree with that, I think that, you know, putting that at the forefront versus the real end game here, what we're really doing is putting, what's that saying, the cart before the horse. I think what we need to do is, especially in scratch agencies or agencies that are stagnant in terms of growth or having trouble growing, I think they're spending too much time in finding ways to bring business in instead of the traditional model. Get a yellow pages, go out and network, get those opportunities and leverage your position. Show why you deserve the business. Be a value added resource for that customer. I mean, I go out to a lot of accounts and we might not always be the most competitive on price, but when I sit down and I break things down to them and bring scenarios of claim scenarios or potential exposures or risks that they don't even identify, I just brought a huge resource to them. We could talk about trucking, their filings that if they're doing interstate commerce, their US DOT requirements, so on and so forth. I mean, these are things as insurance agents and brokers that we have an infinite knowledge base of because we're dealing with it every single day. Instead, what are we doing? We're sitting here worrying about how we're going to get a customer quoting portal into our website so comparative raters can populate all the information across all of our carriers and we can bring back real-time quotes for our customers. And while that's great for a certain segment of opportunities, at the same time, it's not what we're all about. Yes, you want to be able to, as you grow your book of business, complement your customer base with all those added technological items and services. But at the same time, it should not be our focus. We need to be more dependent on the relationship because, quite frankly, perfect example is our agency relies heavily on referrals, but at the same time, it doesn't mean we just sit back and wait for the referral. I mean, we're out there pushing all day long trying to bring new business in, whether it's through referral channels, networking channels, or just right out of the phone book, or Sales Genie, or wherever where we can get leads. I mean, we still use a lot of those traditional models. And getting back to what I was saying earlier, I mean, many years ago, I was fortunate enough to grow up around an insurance-based family. My family owned an insurance agency for many, many years, and I was always told that there are 3 specific stages to an insurance agency, and that is survival, growth, and stable. And implementing all of the, I'll call it our competitors, the Geicos and Lemonades, in conjunction with what I believe our true responsibilities are as insurance professionals, throughout the survival mode, just to give you an example, we have to just go get it. I mean, I hate to use this terminology, no pun intended, but just do it. It's like Nike. Just go get the business. Just do it. At the growth model, we can utilize our competitors to an extent of their model from a servicing standpoint, or even bringing new business to us and trying to alleviate some of the additional tasks associated with new business, or for that matter, servicing, by implementing some of their technology models. At stable, you can somewhat set things to autopilot, but at the same time, this is a business that's purely based and geared around new business. You can have in your agency a 99% retention rate. Now keep in mind, there is no agency that retains 100% of business. It doesn't matter what brokerage or agency you are. I don't care if you're the biggest in the world or the smallest. You do not retain 100%. No one does. But let's just use the example of 99%, which is extremely high. Even if you retain 99%, but you do not write one new piece of business, at some point you will not have customers left. So it's a sticking point for me that when I hear, well, we need to do this or we need to do that, otherwise, the Geicos of the world, who are our competitors, the direct writer, the Lemonades of the world, they're gonna knock us out of insurance, and there's not going to be a need for us, and then the carriers are going to start doing what they're doing. And quite frankly, that's a line. We need to turn around, draw the line in the sand, and we need to make a stand that, hey, no different than the plumber or the electrician or the HVAC guy, we are providing you a value-added resource. We are a resource. We can guide you through things that no computer is going to be able to tell you. No different than a call center for some of these competitors of ours. I mean, think about the value in that. your customer that you worked very hard on to write their insurance comes to you, and they know they're going to be dealing with, John Smith or Janie Jones or whoever it is every single time they pick up that phone, or they send an email, or they shoot you a text. It's always going to be that person. Whereas if you call an 800 number, you're getting a round robin, basically. You don't know who you're going to get. Yes, you might get somebody 24/7, but are you going to get that personalized experience where, hey, they know your kid's birthday, they know how many kids you have, they know what's going on in your life, they can bounce these questions off of you because they're concerned about something, or they have a new operation at their business, or they're thinking about doing something. Where's all that advice and guidance with that personal touch, that professional touch? That's what's important. We have to keep in mind, go out, get that business, create that relationship, utilize the technology in these other models to help leverage that or complement it, and then before you know it, no different than a groundhog, just keep your head down and burrow, 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 come up for some air. Wow, I really got far. Head back down, keep going. Come up for some air, a little while later, you're even further ahead. That's what we have to do. We have to stop looking for shortcuts and the easy way of doing things. Yes, do we all want it? We all want, what's that saying? High income, low effort. Yeah, everybody wants that. And maybe there's some people out there with that capability, or maybe if it's worked for some people. But the reality is we need to put the work in. You need to put the hard work in. So again, this is geared towards you independent agents and brokers. Step it up. Realize what you are. We all have to realize that we have a duty, to our insureds. Don't try to sit back and mimic these other competitors and their models. Yes, they write a lot of business, but it's a lot of transactional stuff. Build that relationship, build that rapport, and that will help you grow your business, because then they're going to be more inclined to give you referrals, and utilize that to leverage your network and be a professional. Continue that professional mark, and that will help us all. We don't want to be labeled a certain way because people are inefficient in what they do. We want to all be able to sit back and rely upon each other's reputation. Hey, look, I don't write healthcare, or we don't write healthcare here, or life insurance. And what I do is, when I refer somebody to the broker that we do life and health with, quite frankly, they take that with a grain of salt. They look at that, and it's highly recommended, because why? They know that I do a good job for them. And if I'm going to refer somebody to them, they know that person's going to do a good job for them. Things like that have a great impact in the industry across the board for us. If you do your job diligently, the next agent or broker will have a leg up for that same reason. And quite frankly, like I said, folks, the reality of it is nobody retains 100% of the business. But let's keep it on our side of the books. Let's not give it away. Because if we try to mimic that model, we have lost already. So folks, I've been rambling on this because it's a real sticking point for me. But at the end of the day, I'm going to leave you with this. Just do it, okay? Just go out, get that business, develop those relationships, network, show your value, and that will most certainly give you the competitive edge. If you need any help, if you have any questions, I have all the time in the world to help you guys out there. That's what I'm here for. I want to help. Yes, I have my own agency. I'm running 100 miles an hour, but I want to help the industry. I want to help you agents. I want to help you brokers. So anybody with any questions, any desires, any needs, feel free to email me, or us, I should say, at info@riskchannels.com. Again, that's info@riskchannels.com. You can go to our website. All of our contact information is there, and that's www.riskchannels.com. I'm going to leave you with this too, folks. Again, next week, I'm going to be coming back to you again this week, because I got a lot of good stuff I want to get off my chest, especially on this. But at the same time, we're going to be launching another podcast, industry specific. I don't want to lead on to anything until that production and everything is up and running smoothly, and we actually can launch it, but that's going to be coming to you shortly. Again, info@riskchannels.com. Any questions, or you can check us out at our website, riskchannels.com. Thanks again, folks, for all your time, and look forward to getting back to you next week, or actually later on this week. Talk to you soon. Take care.